If responsible people don't address real problems in a straightforward way, then irresponsible people are going to exploit them. Of Boys and Men by Richard Reeves. We're witnessing a paradigm shift all across the board when it comes to gender equality. Be it politics, culture, education, or career, since the early 70s, a quick progression of women empowerment through public awareness and media attention is apparent. But what we often don't see is how the line for gender equality is blowing past the feminist movement and dashing towards gender inequality. But this time, it's the other way around. Welcome to another dinner table debate, and tonight we discuss what the gender equality movement means for the young boys who are growing up in a rather difficult cultural shift. We see the gaps cracking bigger in the educational sector, both as students and educators. Since the laws passed in the 1970s, which provided easy access to higher education for women, men have lagged behind in getting a college degree by 15% than the women, thereby falling out of competition in the high-stature careers. The proportion of male teachers in the kindergarten has fallen to 24% in the last decade, making it an essentially female-dominated profession. And there's nothing wrong with teaching being a profession largely feminine, but the effect of that shows elsewhere. The young boys in school are seeing very low male representation in the school system and feeling a lack of male role models in their early childhood. The effect of this becomes visible much later in life, which makes it a difficult to diagnose problem. We see a steady progress in women chasing professions that are high up in social value and excel in it, therefore inching towards equality in the workforce. But the situation is not the same for working-class men, who are lower in the economic ladder. We are so much focused on high net worth careers that we often forget to look at the grassroots issues. Men have been falling behind in vocational training because there are fewer instructors. And the crisis becomes more apparent every day, as a significant portion of the training participants are men. So, the trend of falling in the pit of professional failure is very sharp among the men from poorer financial backgrounds. This is also seen in the father-son dynamics among the nuclear family in the recent decades. Reeves calls it the dad deficit in his book. The male population is slowly stepping away from the traditional masculine roles in the family due to the progress of female participation in the high-value careers. It is pushing the fathers out of the family setting, as the narrative shift in the family culture says that they don't need the old-fashioned father figure. But this change in a household has a very adverse effect on the developmental stage of the young boys. Not having a father figure leaves them clueless about certain responsibilities and obligations, which bubbles up later in life as they struggle to cope with the perception of needlessness of male presence in modern society. Also, unfortunately, the traditional masculine traits are painted as toxic with a very broad stroke. It stops everyone from valuing the efforts and contribution that men offer to the table, and the disapproval of men's behavior grows higher, regardless of their personality types or behavior pattern. Niobe Way has spent a large portion of her career as a developmental psychologist talking to young men about their relationships and how they evolve through time, documented in her book Deep Secrets. According to her, young men are losing their strong friendships and the intimacy that comes with them because of hypermasculine beliefs. When you talk to preteen boys, they naturally have a craving for intimacy. And it's not simply a bromance thing or a desire to hang out with guys. It's a want for someone who they can have a safe space with. But by the end of the teenage years, they lose a lot of their boyhood friends and slowly walk towards a lonely life. As well as being taught to be tough, from early childhood, many men are also conditioned to be assertive and manly, not only by our peers, but by society at large. Indeed, entire marketing and advertising campaigns are created around what it means to be a man and shoved in our faces. So, in the face of judgments, men tend to toughen up, and when they show the same characteristics in the late ages, it is termed as toxic masculinity. It has become an all losing game for young men, as they are denied their natural instincts. But the same society says that it is rewarding to be feminine and it is superior to the other side. Stand true to your calling to be a man. Real women will always be relieved and grateful when men are willing to be men. Elizabeth Elliot. The problem with the gender gap issue is that people tend to choose sides, and then it automatically becomes a less productive moment where we try to kick the other side to the curb. We are all capable of looking at a social pattern and solving it for everyone. Addressing the issues on both sides doesn't take away the effort from either. It reinforces movement as it becomes a human problem rather than a gender problem. Where do you stand on this? Let us know in the comments section, and we will get back to you with more. You are all invited again to our next dinner. Till then, live the dream.